understand what I mean by condensate, right? You're taking steam, you collapse it back to a liquid, we call it condensate. You need condensate in the blue tank, and of course when it gets to its level, then it just pumps the water back to the generator. So in essence, it's a very, very closed loop. The only time you lose water is when you're heating up, you're cooling down your headers, your steam headers. You got to vent the liquid out, the condensate out. And once you're up and running, you've got no loss of liquid other than blowing down the boiler.
Oh, nice.
Now, you were talking about a power failure. This is our backup generator. Natural gas driven. So this thing we can start it within a heartbeat because you won't lose your natural gas flow. What this does, this is fire up. It's a 55 kilowatt generator, and this is called our Black Start generator. It's a V10 Ford at putting out about 85 horsepower. Yes, that's all it puts out. But it's at the RPM that's going to drive that generator. So this Black Start generator, all it does is it feeds these batteries. So this is an uninterrupted power supply. So this is all just full of batteries, and all of those touchscreen control panels that we walk by, they pull all of their electricity 100% of the time off of these batteries. So if the power trips, those control panels would never know it because they're always pulling off of a battery. We use ATCO to keep the battery charged. If ATCO goes down, we've got about 6 to 8 hours of life in these batteries, and then we'd have to fire up the Black Start generator to charge batteries to keep the place running. Now, we can keep the control panels running. Our big feed water pumps at 600 volts, we need the Black Start. We can't pull 600 volts out of here. So to actually, we could operate this plant and produce electricity in a power failure, but generally by the time we got warmed up and fired up and creating steam, power would be back on anyway, right? So. Okay, let's continue on. Let's sneak in here. Okay, so this is a really good look at an economizer. So your feed water coming in, goes through your control valve, comes here, valve is blocked, here's up, goes into your economizer, goes through a series of tubes, your combustion gases coming out hot, up, and through the economizer, out to the chimney. Your feed water goes down, through here, can't go that way, it's got to go this way, up, and through, and it goes poof, right into the boiler. So you're picking up the heat from it there. Now, what's really, really cool here is what's right behind you, and that is a condensing economizer. Now, that's a thin tube, stainless steel condensing economizer that was. And what we're doing, let me get your camera set. So follow your chimney. The chimney comes up here, around, over, and it goes up through the roof, right? So you can see one chimney here, that's our deboiler. The next chimney through the roof is the fire tube, and the third one down there is the O boiler. Now, just behind the chimney, or to the right of the stack, you're going to see a butterfly. There's 3 butterfly valves, 1, 2, and 3. So what we can do is we can open up those butterfly valves, and we're going to start this big draft fan, VFD-driven draft fan. And what we're going to do then is we're going to draw those combustion gases through down into that economizer. Inside that economizer, inside the tubes is glycol, and we will take the combustion, the energy, the heat from the combustion gases, and transfer it into a glycol heating loop. And so we can take, typically we'll push anywhere from 150 to 180 degrees Celsius combustion gas through the roof. But what we can do is, instead of sending it through the roof, we can send it through here. And we can take that 180 degrees Celsius, and we can take all that heat out of it. And the only chimney coming out of the condensing economizer is just a simple fiberglass tube. And we are exhausting anywhere from 40 to 60 degrees C. So we can capture anywhere from 100 to 120 degrees C out of our exhaust gases before we send it to the roof, before we send it out. So it's a condensing economizer. How's your grade 10 science now? If I was to say the latent heat, your latent heat evaporation, what am I talking about? Latent heat of evaporation. Sorry? Nope. You take ice and you heat it up and it goes to water. That's your latent heat of fusion. So to take ice at 0 degrees and to move it to a liquid at 0 degrees takes a lot of energy. You take water at 100 degrees C and you convert it to steam at 100 degrees C. There's no measurable temperature gain, but there's a ton of energy that goes in there to change it, that changes state, right? So to change state from a liquid to a gas, that's called your latent heat of evaporation, right? Latent heat of fusion is ice to water. So to capture all that energy, what we're doing is we're taking these gases and we actually cool them down until they become a liquid, and we capture all that latent heat of evaporation out of it, which is really cool. The downside is you shouldn't really be taking exhaust gases and turning them into a liquid because it's super corrosive. It's super nasty. Super nasty stuff in there. So we actually chemically treat the condensate that comes out of here, because it'll create condensate. We'll chemically treat it. And that boiler just shut off. No, not sure why. But we'll chemically treat it and we neutralize it before it goes to drain. And we capture all that heat. And it's the latent heat we're after, not necessarily the degree C, but it's that latent heat of all that vapor that we've used in the fuel to change it to a gas. So stainless steel, it has to be stainless steel to handle the corrosion. That's why you don't see many of these. And we put the heat into a glycol loop. That glycol loop.
Preheaters?
Sorry?
Is it a preheater?
Yeah, our combustion preheater, combustion air that goes into the boilers is a preheater just up in the corner. We'll take a look at it. We've got big air handling units up top, so that's the wing expansion. You've got a big air handling unit. It's got a glycol and the little one here that you're seeing. So all the combustion air, we don't pull combustion air directly from the outside. Our combustion air for the boilers is just up under the ceiling here, and when we're firing, it knows it's firing, and that little makeup unit will then dump outside air. It'll heat it and dump it into the room. So we're always using room air. Warmer the air, the better for your combustion.
Interesting.
So that glycol loop goes to the combustion air heating coil, 2 air handling units. The entranceway where you guys came in, inside that entranceway in the vestibule, you'll never see snow on the floor. There's heating coils in the floor on both sides. There's two entrances on either side. You never snow, it's always dry. And then where our receptionist is upstairs, there's a heating coil under her desk, because as you sit all day, you get cold, right? Pretty cool, eh?
Very cool.
Very cool. So we can dump our heat off the turbine. Again, to create that vacuum off the backside of our turbine, we need to take that heat and move it somewhere, right? So we can use the building to dump our heat. But this time of year, like today, hello, it's getting warm outside, building no demand for heat. You gotta dump that heat off of that steam coming out of the exhaust side of your turbine, collapse it back to a liquid to create vacuum. So what we have here, this is all related to cooling tower. So what we'll do is we'll take that building heating water coming in, so instead of sending it over to the surface condenser, we'll actually pull it over here, and it's a huge mass. We'll take that building fluid, we'll run it through this heat exchanger, and we'll take that heat, we'll dump it into a glycol loop, we'll send that glycol up to the cooling tower, and on a day like today, we ran 2 huge fans up there, and we just use the atmospheric air to cool it, and then the glycol comes back down. We've reduced the heat of the building fluid coming in. It goes over to the other heat exchanger coming off the exhaust turbine, picks up the heat again and sends it back to college. When we warm it up and put it run like that for 3 and 4 and 5 hours, we would heat up the glycol and the cooling tower. Just the straight fans wouldn't be enough capacity. So that one tank right there is just simple spray water. So on your coils up in your tower, you've got glycol coil just running back and forth, and we just deluge, just dump water on top, and the water comes back down, and of course that evaporative effect of steaming that water off, again, you're reducing that glycol. So this is all cooling tower here. Alrighty.
Super cool. I noticed you have, this is a turbine right here?
Yeah.
And another exchanger. So you guys, oh, so they're missing a gasket there?
Yeah, we overpressured this is a little condensate exchanger. It's underneath the stairs there, but they overpressured it on commissioning, and it split all the little gaskets in it.
So you guys want to get a close-up and have a look at those things? So yeah.
So what they did is they just brought us a new one, but.
So you can see the gap right there, right? That shouldn't, the gap shouldn't be like that for sure.
We've taken it apart and the kids have looked at it and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a really good training.
But it's that little heat exchanger is $10,000.
That's why your tuition's so much, guys.
Yeah. And that is a small steam-driven turbine, which is hooked to a heating plant in the Misericordia Hospital in Edmonton. So they wanted to get rid of it, and I don't know, they called us, you want a steam, an old steam turbine? And our steam chief said, I guess so. So we brought it in, and we're not sure what we're going to do with it. We got enough equipment here that they can run, but the thought was we'd hook it up to compressed air and just roll it with compressed air. So, but yeah, it weighs, I think it's about 1,800 pounds. We have just small breakout rooms here for instruction. That's that way when things are noisy out here, they can keep going. My low pressure boiler shut off. I don't know why.
Troubleshoot.
It's been absolutely foolproof, that thing. These tanks here, sort of walking by, are full of reverse osmosis. So this is our feed water. It comes in here after it has been softened. It goes through a sodium zeolite softener. And what the sodium zeolite softener does is your water typically has calcium and magnesium in it, which causes hardness. So when you get all the little water droplets around your sink and the water evaporates, you get all those little white dots, it's calcium and magnesium. So you run it through your sodium zeolite softener, and the zeolite pellets, they attract sodium, and that's why you put a salt brine through it. But as you run water through it, the little zeolite pellets like the calcium and magnesium more, so they'll give off the salt. They'll attract the calcium and magnesium, and then you've got salt in your water, soft salts. So you actually have a little bit more particulate in your water